Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's football show. We're on STV Edinburgh and STV Glasgow. And the main talking points tonight, Celtic get ready for that Champions League showdown against Malmo. Darren McGregor signs for Hibernian on a 2-year deal and Schneider leaves United. We'll also be taking a look at the League Cup ties this evening. Alan Ruff is alongside me and we have a former St Mirren and Dundee player in Roddy Manley who joins us to talk about maybe a chance for some footballers to carve out a career after the game and also get his thoughts on some of his old teams. Simple as that. Great to have your company Monday to Friday. We're here at 6:30 every night and 2 till 6 on a Saturday. So, Ruffy, gut feeling on this one. Can Celtic produce a similar performance to Qarabağ and get away with enough to get them into the group stages?
Yeah, I think they can. I think even in this game I can see Celtic scoring. I can see them giving themselves a wee bit of breathing space as well. But I think the first 15-20 minutes is going to be very, very important. As I think also the line-up as well. I don't know about the manager, whether he'll tinker it with Mulgrew. But it'll be interesting to see how they go about the game. But I think it's going to be an open game. I don't think Malmo were any unbeatable by any manner of means, and particularly at home. But they'll be encouraged by that result against Red Bull in the last round, the 3-0. So that's, I think, where their confidence is coming from. But I think if Celtic put up a reasonable performance, they can get a result they want.
And Roddy, no doubt about the way a Celtic manager operates these days. He can afford to leave 9 players out at the weekend with European football in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. It just shows you the strength that Celtic do have. And that's why I think tonight, based on, I know he's going to change it back again, I would imagine. Not sure exactly the same as what Alan's saying. I'm not sure what side he'll go with, but I think the side that he'll go with will get a result tonight. I really do. But I think it could be similar to the first game. I think there'll be goals at both ends, definitely.
Well, as we all often say on this programme, what makes a great game of football, Ruffy, it's 2 rank rotten defences, and that might be the case today. I'm not too sure many Celtic fans would agree with that, but on the evidence of that first leg, as Roddy alluded to there, you know, there were some mistakes that I think if they replicate that, they'll not be thinking about group stage football in Europe.
No, but I have to be honest, you know, even whichever one of the two of them, you know, qualify, it's all about going to be there. You know, I think Ronnie Dale's always said that. You know, it's about once you get to the group stages, it's the teams that your supporters can welcome coming. You know, the big names that the supporters can live on for years to say, I saw him and I saw him. So, yeah, I agree with you. I don't think either of the two of them, even if they went into the group stages, would be challenging to get into the last stages.
Yeah, and Roddy, as a player, I'm sure you loved a wee bit of needle, and there's a wee bit of needle ahead of this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I was involved in a few games myself when there was a bit of needle, but I honestly think that when you look at the first game in Celtic, I was surprised that Celtic started the way they did, but they were 2 up, and then I was even more surprised that your lad Brown and Beaton were kind of pushing forward all the time. I think they sat in a bit more and just kept it 2-0. I'm not saying sit on 2-0, but I'm still thinking keep it tight, don't give them any confidence, don't let them back into the game, and then look to get a third, because I thought they could have maybe finished it. Yeah. They could have finished it, but wow, you know, the way it went was very surprising at the end up.
Yeah. I'm in Roddy's camp, Ruffy. I mean, I think you know, the Qarabağ performance away from home was ideally the way you should play European football. They had some nice passing, defended when they needed to. This one, I think, has got a wee bit of edge to it. Marcus Rosenberg, their experienced striker, comes back, so that's another unknown quantity. They don't know how to handle him as well.
Yeah, and I think in that side of it, I think that's where Malmo have got the advantage. Malmo can afford the 1-0, they can afford the 2-1. That's what they've got going for them, and they'll know that getting into the game. So the first goal is going to be very important, as it always is in these big games. And even, it doesn't matter what side scores it, it's going to open up the whole game. Because if they were to score, then Celtic have to do something about it. And I think that's what are going to make it a really, really exciting game.
Yeah, and Ronnie Dyler adamant again, Ruffy, that they don't need to sell Virgil van Dijk. And all I would counter that with saying is lots of clubs don't need to sell players, but they eventually do.
Yeah, I think everybody deal. I think it's went quiet from Southampton. You know, obviously the boy himself was unsettled the last time when he thought the deal was going to go through, so I'm sure Celtic have had a word with him. They've told him exactly what the circumstances are and where they are, because he won't want to go into that game with anything messing his mind up, you know, and if he goes into that game knowing he's going to put in a good performance and he is going to get the move, it can only help Celtic.
Yeah, we are going to talk League Cup in the second part of the programme. We'll also talk about Darren McGregor as well. Roddy, I want to get your thoughts on what you're involved in now, because obviously I think, you know, we speak to a number of people on this programme who try and look for something to do after their playing career. You've found something in a career to do, but there are other footballers out there that I think your company is trying to help.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Sport basically has been set up on the back of the fact that I've got a recruitment company. I have jobs. I have clients that are quite keen to work with footballers, but they have to offer something else. So for me, a footballer coming through the door has to have more than just football. We want to give them that. We want to get them involved in sport where we can support them and help them down some of these avenues.
Now, can I ask you, the key element here, I think, because of the way football has gone over the last 5 or 10 years in the Bosman ruling, some players go part-time. And have to look for a job. Do you entertain them as well? Do you give them the opportunity? Absolutely.
Every single player in Scottish football would benefit for being involved in sport. What I'll point out is that the part-time clubs in Scotland have these 44-week contracts. They've got 8 weeks that there's no money coming in at all, not sure what their future is. Well, we could have them out working. We could have them involved in something if they want to sign up with sport. We have to get them in, have a look at what they're doing, etc. But absolutely, any player at any level.
Yeah, I know the PFA tries to do a lot to highlight to players the need to get education, the need to maybe look towards a skill factor. Of course, the dreaded thing for a lot of footballers is the first time they actually have to put in or put together some form of CV. I imagine you have that structure in place for them.
Absolutely, we have everything in place for them because it is what we do. Listen, I totally understand what the PFA do and what they try to do, but there's more needed, there's more required out there to start doing something real, and that's what we're offering. As far as CVs go, if someone gets involved in sport, that just forms part of what we do for them. You know what, it's giving someone a CV is not going to actually help them go and get a job right away. We have to support and look at them and look at what they're doing and add something that's real to that CV, add other experiences for them. But that is what we do. We just create this pathway for them, route way to support them right through.
Yeah, Ruffy, that would have been great for you when you chucked the game big in.
Yeah, I mean, I was fortunate enough. I started off as an apprentice electrician, and fortunately I was lucky enough to be good enough to get 20 years out of football.
Yeah.
But I would guarantee that every young footballer thinks he's going to make it. There's no doubt about it. You're not thinking about what happens if I don't. So, I mean, this is a great thing. There's loads and loads of kids out there who don't even think about what they're going to do before they get a chance to become professional.
Do you know what, Alan, that's absolutely right. And that's one of the hardest things that we're finding is that it's this barrier you need to break down with the young players as well, because they want to be the next whoever.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's important that their parents support them there as well to make them understand, listen, the facts are there's over 90% of young players just don't make it, dropping out at all different stages. You need something there to support them, and that's why it's not just a case of sending them in courses, ticking boxes, it's a case of properly looking after them.
Yeah. Where can they go to get in contact with you?
Online, just into sport.com, sport.com, and phone numbers are all there. Just give us a phone, pop in and see us, and we'll have a gab.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, nothing in life is certain, Ruffy, but at least if you've got somebody there willing to build that bridge to give you a hand, that's what you need.
I'm sure there'll be a lot of young guys out there at this precise moment in time in their career will identify that they're not going to make it. It's a horrible experience to have to deal with it, and certainly what's on board here is something that a lot of them will be really keen to take it up. I'm sure there'll be lots of people out there listening, footballers who will go down that road. And
it massively supports the part-time, it really does, because they're training twice a week. We can have them working other days. So if they decide they want to stay part-time, go part-time or whatever, then we can work it around that. It's a good fit.
Yeah, absolutely. We will go back over that address for you in the next part of the programme. If you want to get in touch with, of course, Roddy's company to help in your football career after it and thinking about the future and the long-term future as well. 20 years, Ruffy, in football.
Yeah.
No such worries for the big man. 3 World Cups, the Maracana, you name it. Roddy wouldn't have been able to do anything for you, Ruffy.
Unfortunately, nobody had to deal with me being an electrician coming to their house, which would have been a shocker.
Absolutely. I now have a vision. I have a vision in my head which doesn't fill me with confidence. Okay, join us after the break. We are going to talk about Darren McGregor, who's joining his boyhood heroes, no less. He's joined up with Hibernian for 2 years. We'll talk about that next. Welcome back to the second part of Peter and Ruffy's football show. Alan Ruff alongside me, Peter Martin. Our Bitroom guest tonight is Roddy Manley. Roddy, I mentioned 2 of your former clubs, St Mirren and Dundee. Usually, nobody beats Chick Charnley. He had 23 former clubs. Have I missed any others that are close to your heart?
Yeah, Falkirk.
Yeah.
You know, started out with Falkirk. That was my first club, 1984. I went there. 5 great years. Absolutely loved it at Falkirk. Moved on to St Mirren, and it went okay. Wasn't great. It was done all right. I'm not sure that I'm in the best 11, but it was just one of those things. You move on, things work, they don't work. And then I spent a couple of years in Hong Kong, which was good. And then come back to Dundee. Yeah. Played 1 season, basically. Played in the cup final, which was great. And then it was time up.
Was there a point that you can remember where you thought, this is where I'm really enjoying it? There's one particular year.
Yep, at Falkirk. Basically, maybe the second season when I was in the first team, etc. And I just thought it was the best thing ever. Absolutely fantastic. Playing first team football, 19 or whatever I was. It was great. Great manager at the time as well, Billy Lamont. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Great guys. Great experienced pros that I was playing with. And back then the game was different to what it is now. I think I probably don't recognise the game now, but back then I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah. What do you mean by that?
I just think things have changed that much. When you look at how it's set up now with pro youth and all that kind of stuff, and the focus on, trying to make players better players by more of a focus every day they're in. They're getting analysed on everything. I think it's about OTT, to be quite honest with you. I don't know about yourself, Alan, but going back, it was a case of you sign your contract, you go in, you're just striving to get in the first team, you are in awe of who you're playing with. Yeah. I don't think that's there anymore, and I think a lot of that changed when clubs, possibly financially, decided that they were going to go with younger players, because that happened, and that's the way the clubs have went. And I think young players now just expect to get into a team and play. Whereas not in my time it wasn't. You just had to earn that and you had to work hard and you got very little money. Yeah.
And Gordon Strachan touched on that the other day there. He says no scientist or anybody or any medical people will tell me what players I'm going to pick. I can tell by eye when they're training, and I think the progress and things do help to a certain extent, but at the end of the day, Gordon's saying that he'll tell by the first 2 or 3 training sessions who's up for it and who's not up for it.
Yeah, and I've got to ask you this question. If the Bairns was a time where you enjoyed playing your football, the Bairns of the 21st century, do you fancy them to make at least the playoff in this division, or is it just a bridge too far?
Maybe just a little bit too far. I know Peter very well, Peter Houston. I played with Peter back then as well. He's a great guy, great manager, but I wish him all the best. But I don't think they've got the resources there that are going to get them up there, I don't think. Yeah.
Is it Rangers and Hibs for you?
You know what? I think it's going to be Rangers. I think Hibs will... I watched Hibs the other day and actually they played well against Rangers. Just didn't score the goal, but I would say, yeah, I probably would. I think Rangers are actually looking quite good, really. I'm really surprised how it's changed around there, but I think they're looking good.
Yeah, and it's turned around for one player in particular. We mentioned Gideon Zillalem going in to join Rangers, and another man heading out yesterday was Dan McGregor. Today he has the Hibs strip. He's paraded with his boyhood heroes. 2-year deal for a guy who was Player of the Year in many fans' eyes last year at Ibrox, Ruffy.
Yeah, we touched on it the other day there, and there is no substitute from actually being the first team player in a team like Rangers, playing in front of 40,000 people, and all of a sudden you're in the reserves or the under, whatever it is. You know, the buzz of actually playing there, being Player of the Year, being Players' Player of the Year, and then all of a sudden you're not wanted. And when you get that kind of adrenaline boost, you want to be playing all the time. So he's decided that the new manager obviously doesn't fancy him. There are other players that he fancies, so he's decided to move on, and he's kept it quite quiet that he was a Hibs supporter all last year, which is a surprise.
As you would when you're in the West of Scotland, there's a sensible approach.
So yeah, he's a Leith boy now, and that's the only team he's ever wanted to play for. So no, good luck to him. I thought he'd done remarkably well coming from St Mirren, you know, to Rangers. I thought most of the games of when they were going through the troubled time, he was a shining light. I think they moved him out into fullback, which I don't think he was comfortable at. But I think he's a kind of player that will do Hibs well.
And if we're talking about Hibs across the city, Hearts, and more than a few players, and you know what it's like, Roddy, you cannot control people who maybe come from another country and get enthusiastic about the start that the Hearts have made. I know Oshinawa has mentioned that he thinks he's there for the title for Hearts. Robbie Nielsen will be pulling his hair out. He's trying to keep a lid on the expectation.
Oh, absolutely, and so he should. They've done a fantastic job. He's done a fantastic job as well. But as you said, maybe some of the foreign lads just see it a bit different. They're winning some games. They're thinking, great, at the top of the league, we're going to win this. Don't think so. For me, Celtic will win the league. They will, and they'll push forward once they're finished with Europe, I would imagine. But I think that they will win the league. But it'd be really good to watch what happens with Hearts and Aberdeen. I can't think right now who else will maybe compete with them, but it's absolutely fantastic to see what Hearts have done. Straight up.
Well, you mentioned 3 clubs there. I don't think too many people, even this early in the season, can see anybody, push those 3 clubs. You might think differently. Give us your view at Peter and Ruffy on Twitter, and also facebook.com/Peter and Ruffy as well. Rodney Schneider. Now, we were going through a phase, Ruffy, where we had Pogba, but the wrong brother, playing at Partick Thistle, although we do wish him well. But Rodney Schneider has been released by Dundee United for medical reasons. Jackie McNamara felt it was better that they just cut the cord before they signed any deal that wouldn't work out for both of them.
Yeah, it is an unfortunate one. Obviously, there was a lot of expectations. That everybody was hoping that he would take something from his brother, and they were going to show it on the park. But sometimes these things happen. You know, obviously don't know the details of what was the matter with him. But I'm sure Jackie has come to the right decision, because if they signed a contract, it'd have been more problematic.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I want to mention, Ruffy, which I think is something that tugs at the heartstrings of most football fans out there, is a game that's taking place Sunday the 20th of September. Now, we had Jim Lishman on yesterday talking about the Dunfermline and the Celtic match on the 6th of September, but on the 20th of September up at Borough Briggs, where Elgin City play, there's going to be a tribute match there for Fernando Ricksen, which I think will be a great day out for anyone who's a football fan who wants to go and see some Rangers legends and some guests playing in the 11. A few Celtic players are making the journey to play in the match as well. Again, it's an absolute tragedy when you see Fernando and the stories about only being able to discuss things with his wife by text now. Motor neurone disease is a demoralising disease, and I think all our hearts go out to Fernando.
Yeah, on numerous occasions we've spoke about it. He's battled through it, and with a lot of courage as well. And I think the good thing about it is when he does all these charity games, it's not just his charity, there's lots of other charities benefit from it as well. And I'm sure people up in Elgin will love to go along to that game. I'm sure it'll be a full house, and it'd be great to see the names that are going to play in it.
Yeah, if you get a chance, get along there and support Fernando on what will be a very special night, 20th of September at Borough Briggs. Ruffy, just before we go, you and Roddy, League Cup, as ever, it's early stages. Airdrie Rangers tomorrow and Hibs against Stranraer. Are we tipping any shock there? Just getting your thoughts on it?
No, I think Rangers will win that match comfortably, as well, I believe, Hibs.
Yep, I agree. I think there will be a shock somewhere.
Yeah.
There usually is.
That's what I love about you,
it's
Ruffy.
a
Right to the tip.
competition.
Just give me the shock.
No,
then.
it's a competition that there are usually shocks around about this one, and I'm going to have Motherwell on this one.
Motherwell to go out?
Yes.
Right, okay. And I'm looking at the games there and I'm thinking East Fife are going to knock Motherwell out of the cup.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, before you think me that, remember, Albion Rovers did it last time.
Yeah. Well, listen, hey, I'm not knocking you for opinions, as Roddy will mention to you. This game's all about opinions. But this is, of course, the 6:30 show. By the time 10:30 comes around, you're watching the repeat. Ruffy's going to look mightily silly if Motherwell have got a 3 or 4-0 win. I am really looking forward to seeing the Dunfermline Dundee match as well. And, of course, the Champions League second leg playoff between of course, Malmo and Celtic. Let's give you that site one more time. If you're a footballer out there wondering where to go, what to do, there it is, www.sporthrt.com, sport.com, and you can get in touch with Roddy and hopefully he can do something for you. Great to have Roddy on the programme. From Ruffy and myself, join us if you can. STV Edinburgh, STV Glasgow tomorrow night. Fraser Wright, who's just joined Dumbarton, will be joining us. Hopefully you can join us too. Good night.